Hello everybody, here we are today talking about who I think will win every division this year in the NHL, just having a little bit of fun with it. So before we get started, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So this video didn't really take a lot of time to do. I just kind of thought about some teams that I felt like were going to be really good this year and just kind of whittled down who I thought was going to go out there and win the division, kind of what it would mean for them, if it would even mean anything for them. So we'll be talking about all that and kicking it off with the Atlantic Division. Who is going to go out there and win the Atlantic? I think, in my personal opinion, that it's going to be the Florida Panthers. It doesn't seem too shocking. They are a team that probably will regress a little bit here this year, but they are a side that won the Stanley Cup last season. They have won the division 2 of the past 3 years and look poised to possibly go out there and do it again. Yes, there are some other teams that are going to be competitive this year in the division, but looking at the fact that Boston Bruins are dealing with the whole Jeremy Swayman contract issues, could hold them down a little bit, so that's kind of some of the team maybe you could go out there and write off. Then you have the Tampa Bay Lightning, an in-state rival. They finished with back-to-back 98-point years, so you kind of wonder again, even though they have been able to go out and get Jake Gensel, are they going to improve that much? Is Vasilevsky going to have a rebound year? If not, you're probably thinking again, Tampa Bay is not that big of a threat. I do think that at the moment, the biggest threat to the Florida Panthers claiming their division crown at the moment is going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs. Some people, I think, are really riding off Toronto for this season. They still look to be a pretty good team. But at the end of the day, I'm trusting Florida here. They've been able to retain a lot of these stars. They still are a pretty good team. And I don't exactly know if Toronto is going to be able to have enough to get the job done. As for what exactly this would mean for the Florida Panthers, I don't really think it would mean a whole lot here. Again, this would be their third division title in like 4 years. That would have been a big deal a couple of years ago, but with them having 2 trips to the Stanley Cup final, they really don't care about something like this. I mean, they've won bigger things and more important things in recent years. President's Trophy, 2-time Eastern Conference champion, and then a Stanley Cup champion. There's not much a division title can bring for them, but I do think, again, an easier path for them possibly in the playoffs. They could set themselves up for maybe going on to the Stanley Cup final for a 3rd straight year. Florida's my pick to go out there and win the division. I don't really think it's too risky, but I do think there are some other teams that could go out there and possibly beat them. And then you have the Central Division, and I think this one's going to be a very hard division to pick, as I really do think there could be 4 teams that could go out there and win it. The Nashville Predators are a side that seem very dangerous. They are a dark horse. They have a lot of those old guys that were shipped off from other teams that feel like they really have a lot of motivation. You've got Stamkos, you've got Marchessault that are looking to be threats on this new side. Saros got that extension. This organization feels pretty confident, especially in the short term. They feel like a team that could go out there and pose a threat, but I don't know if it's all going to, kind of pile together and work seamlessly in year 1. So I'm going to say that they don't go out there and do that. Then you have the Winnipeg Jets. They were a team that really did impress me and were able to outperform those expectations I had for them last year. But again, I feel like I'm kind of putting myself off a little bit here and saying I don't really buy a whole lot into Winnipeg having another really good year. Yes, they could be a good team. Yes, they could go on to have a playoff caliber season. But the Jets just feel wrong. And I think, again, part of this stems from them not being super dominant, especially come playoff time. That doesn't really matter in terms of going on to win a division. But I think that with this division being pretty deep, I would just be pretty surprised if Winnipeg was able to come out on top here. Not saying it's impossible, but Connor Hellebuyck kind of leading the way here. Maybe another Vezina caliber season for him to pose a threat for them out in the Central. So that leaves 2 teams, the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche. So for Colorado, side that won the Stanley Cup in 2022, a good team, but dealing with some things like the Landeskog injury. How will this all kind of transpire, especially with the Valeri Nichushkin thing? I just think that right now, especially with how things are set up for them at the moment, you have you have Alexander Georgiev, where his contract is up a little bit in the year. They have a lot of things that are kind of holding them back off the ice that I think just kind of pose a threat to them going out there and winning it again. And that's why for the Central Division, I have the Dallas Stars going out there and winning it. They won it last year. They're the top team in the Western Conference. They're good. They've got good defensive pairings. They've got deep lines. They've got a good goalie. And they're just a side that's been able to have multiple good years in a row. This would be, I think, at least their second. Well, I know it would be their second. It might be their 3rd division in recent years that they would go on to claim the division title, the division crown, if you will. What would it mean for them? Again, not too much, kind of like we talked about with the Florida Panthers. They've been able to go on to the Western Conference Final. They've been even able to go on to the Stanley Cup Final. And I'm getting really tired here, so my speech is getting a little bit sloppy. But anyway, yes, they've been able to just go about as far as you can go without winning the Stanley Cup. And so for them, winning the division isn't a big deal. But again, if it sets them up for an easier path to making it to the Stanley Cup Final and maybe winning their first one since 1999, it'd be very cool. And I know that it's been pretty recent since they've won one, but still, kind of another thing to say, hey, we're proud of what we've done. Now, as for the Metro Division, things get very interesting here as you have a variety of teams that could go out there and win it. Carolina Hurricanes, They've been able to do it a lot in recent years. They won 3 in a row, nearly almost won 4 in a row. They are probably going to be more hard-pressed to go out there and do it again because of the fact they had a lot of off-season losses. It's going to be harder for them to go out there and try to claim a division title, but they still should be a good team that could be a threat again. They've got a lot of those pieces that say, okay, well, maybe they're going to be good enough to get to the playoffs and maybe even be able to beat some teams that could be in front of them. But I think for right now, I don't think they're going to be able to claim that division crown. Maybe they go out there and finish runner-up yet again, but I don't think they're going to go out there and make it, which leaves 2 teams in my eyes that should go out there and do it. One which underachieved a lot last year and one which overachieved. The underachiever was the New Jersey Devils, and the overachievers were the New York Rangers. The Rangers weren't much of an overachiever, I guess, because they have had regular seasons that were good. They won the President's Trophy last year, 114 points, a very incredible year. They could go out there and win the division again, as, of course, they look good. They've got all of those pieces there. Again, Panarin, Zibanejad, Fox. Of course, you've got Shesterkin. All these guys, they've got the familiarity. They've got the playoff runs. They are good. They know they're good. They could go out there and get the job done for another time. But I think in this case, I'm going to be picking the New Jersey Devils. I was high on them last year. They really fell flat on their faces to start off the year. But I'm going to be high on them again. Injuries were a concern for them last year. I think Markstrom really could help them out, and this would be a team that we know can be good, and we're waiting for them to have another good year. They haven't won a division title since 2010, so I think for them it would mean a little bit something, as it would be, again, kind of a feather in their cap for this era of Devils players. The Devils didn't achieve a lot for a while, and then in 2023, they ended up beating the Rangers in the first round to go on the second round, their first postseason series win since 2012. Winning this division title would again kind of cement themselves as a new or different era of Devils hockey, if you will, where they could say, we've won a division title, 2 trips to the playoffs, we've advanced on to the second round. This means something to us, and we really do care, and we want to go on to deeper runs. And I think for right now, I'm buying into the Devils again. Then you have the Pacific as a final division. This one is fun because you have the Vancouver Canucks, Vegas Golden Knights, the Edmonton Oilers that probably appear to be the front runners here. I think that I'm going to say Vancouver won't go out there and win it as a Vancouver fan. Thatcher Demko possibly being out to start the year like we talked about not here too long ago, I feel like could really hold back Vancouver. The offseason didn't treat them particularly great in some areas, and I think there's some prove-it deals where even though the players got some money, I really want to see if they're actually going to work out for the roster. So I'm going to say Vancouver won't go out there and do it, but I am hoping for a playoff appearance, which leaves the Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers. Vegas, a team that really should show a lot of potential this year, could be good, but is relying on some what-ifs. So looking at their goalie situation, some of their forward group especially, they're going to need the blue line to produce a lot. I think we kind of talked about that again in a season preview for them. Vegas certainly has the potential to go out there and win the division, but I think what I'm going to be doing here is picking the Edmonton Oilers to do this. Now again, they're already dealing with some things that could be holding them back. Evander Kane dealing with some injuries. I think Savoy was sent down to the AHL. Oddly enough, some things that I feel like early on to start off the year aren't great indicators of a team that could go out there and win the division, but this is a team that can crack 100 points easily, that has got a lot of star power, and just feels pretty good. Draisaitl got his extension, and they're fresh off of a Stanley Cup final loss. So you know they want to go out there and try to have a good year. They nearly were able to creep up on the Vancouver Canucks and make it with that really hot, nearly 20-game run where they just were practically unbeatable. And I think for the Oilers, they just are in a great spot where they can go out there and try to get the job done. They haven't won a division title, I think, since 1987, which is the longest stretch in NHL history. What would it mean for them? I don't think it would mean a whole lot for this group, considering they've been able to go on deep runs before, but I think it would be more of a feel-good story for the organization to say, yes, we have another division banner, even though we won 2 Stanley Cups since then. It's just kind of a weird thing there for them, but I think for the Oilers, they're poised, and I'm excited to see if they go on to maybe claim another championship. So for this year, I have the Panthers, I have the Stars, I have the Devils, and then I have, of course, the Edmonton Oilers. And now with that, I need to get a little bit of sleep here. Who are your picks to win the division this year? How many teams do you feel like are in the running for the division titles in each respective division? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And go love hockey, all right? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.